everybody, I am blah 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 Hatsune Mikiu, and in today's video I will be doing a movie review on the 2019 movie of Fury. I am so excited to review this movie because I've been wanting to review this movie for a long time now, and now that I finally have the chance to finally actually do it, I'm just so excited and I can't wait to tell you guys what happens in this movie. Again guys, there will be spoilers in this video because I talk about what happens to the beginning, middle, and end. And please make sure to like and subscribe to this video and comment and let me know if you guys have seen this movie or not. And make sure to share this video with a friend. So without any further ado, let's just get right into the video. The language of this movie is Vietnamese. So the movie begins with this little village and we see a guy begging to not get beat up or something, and he's saying, "I'll give you your money," and that's when we meet the main character of the movie named Hai. And let me tell you, she's really cool. So the guy's like begging her to like not hit her, and I was like, okay, what the heck is going on? So she grabs a brick and she hits it on his head, and as soon as she did that, I was like, oh boy, I can tell this movie is gonna be good. So later on we see like Hai like at this pig farm, like with pigs everywhere, and she breaks this guy's leg and she's like, you better have my money. And I think he gives her the money and stuff, and we see her beat up another guy and takes his money. I was like, okay, like what the heck does she do? Like she beats people up to get money or something? So then later on we see that she's going to collect her payment by this girl at a desk, like near a river. And okay, the lady at the desk is kind of a B word, but she's kind of funny at the same time. So Hai's like, okay, like here's my money, like what's my payment? And she's like, oh, you can't do your job right, like can you even do anything right, like blah 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 kind of stuff. And she's a little bit funny, but she's sort of a B word. So she's like, just take the money, and she like slides it off the table and like onto the ground, and I was like, rude much? But Hai doesn't do anything. She's like, whatever, and she picks up the money and then she goes to this market to buy some food for her daughter, but we'll get on to her later. So as she's paying for like, I think it was like chicken or something, the two girls that work at the thing are like talking trash about her. They're like, oh, I heard she like got pregnant out of wedlock and she came to this town, like we don't even know who the father is and stuff. And I was like, okay. So we kind of get to know a little bit about her, and I'm like, okay, I hope we get to see that in the movie. And Hai's just kind of like, well, she is listening to what they're saying, but I was like, just don't do it, girl. I thought she was actually going to beat them up, but she didn't. So we go to Hai, like, going to the school to pick up her daughter, Mai. She is so cute in this movie, I swear to God. So we see Mai walking from the school, and we see these three kids, like 2 boys and 1 girl. And they're like making fun of her, and they're like, grab her bag and empty it and stuff. I was like, what the heck is wrong with these little kids? Like seriously, these kids look like they're 6 years old and stuff. I'm like, where's your mom? So the kids are saying like, oh, your mom's a debt collector and stuff, like, you bastard and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa, like language much? So the mom's kind of just standing there to watch to see like Mai will defend herself. And they're kind of like hitting the Mai and stuff like that, and then the mom kind of gets involved. She's like, Mai. And then the other kids are like, oh no, the debt collector. And then the mom's like, shouldn't you kids be at home? Like, class is over, like, go home. And then the kids are kind of saying mean things to her, like, you debt collector and stuff like that. Like, who do you think you are? And then, you know, they run away. And then Hai's like, Mai, are you okay? And the little girl's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, I could tell that when the first time I saw this movie, I could tell that the daughter's kind of like embarrassed, like, because she asked like, did you collect debt again? And the mom's like, no. And then she looks at her hand because it's all bruised up from punch, well, not bruised up, it was kind of bloody, like scratched. She's like, you were collecting debt again. The daughter doesn't really like it when her mom does it, but anyways. So we get to see what their house is like. It's kind of like on a little I forgot what it's called, but it's like water, and it's like, it's not the best looking house. Like, we can tell that they're a little bit poor, but it's better than nothing. So we see the mom cooking and stuff, and the daughter is like working on her homework, and Hai steps out for a minute to have a smoke, and the daughter's watching her for like a little bit, and we kind of see the mom, like, it looked like she was thinking about something. But then we cut back to the daughter Mai, and she's like, the rice is burning, and I was like, oh no, I hope the house doesn't burn down, because I was like, oh shoot, we've all done that before, where we walk away for a while and we forget something's burning. I was like, oh no. So like the mom fixes the rice. She's like, oh, it's hot and stuff. And the daughter's like, Mom, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, shouldn't you be doing your homework? Like, I kind of noticed, like, in the first half of the movie, the mother's sort of tough on Mai, I kind of find. But can you really blame her? She does have a rough life, so she just wants the best for her daughter. She's like, you're never doing your homework. Like, go back and study. And the daughter's like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, poor girl. So then we cut to the dinner scene where they are having, like, the food, and the mom's like, I made your favorite food and stuff. And then the daughter's like, the daughter's like telling her how to make it like a different way, and the mom's like, show off. And I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. Like, we can tell that this, like, her daughter's intelligent and stuff like that, so I was like, okay. I was kind of like, okay, well, like, what does the daughter, like, offer to the movie? I was kind of thinking. So then, I think the girl, she goes back to get, this pot, and it has, like, food, and the mom's like, where did you get that? Did you skip class? And she's like, Mom, yesterday was Sunday. And I was like, oh. So the girl, like, Mai takes out money, and she's like, you should take it, Mom, and stuff like that. And the mom's like, where'd you get this? She's like, oh, the neighbor gave it to me. Like, she wants me to work on a fish farm with her. Like, I want to do, like, weaving nets and stuff like that. And the mom's like, oh, you don't ever do your homework. Listen to you talk like that. Like, do you want to end up like me? I was like, oh my god. Like, so relatable. Like, how many times... I bet everyone who's watching this video has heard their parents say that, like, how long would you last out there? I was like, oh my god, that is so relatable. The daughter's like, I don't like going to school. Like, everyone calls me a bastard, and they make fun of me, and they beat me up. And I was like, okay, Mai does have a point. Like, the kids at the school do really treat her bad, and I was like, I can see why she wants to not go to school anymore. So the mom's, like, thinking about it. And then we hear this loud banging on the door, and, the mom and the daughter go hide in the corner, and this guy's like banging on the door, and he's like, I know you're in there, like, you broke my brother's leg, I'm gonna kill you, and stuff like that. And we see that the mom is looking at a pair of scissors that's close to the door, and I was like, oh shoot, is she like gonna stab him? But I think that was like in case the guy was to break in. I was like, that's intense. So the guy's like, next time I come here, I'm gonna burn your house down, and then he leaves. And then Hai kind of tells, like, Mai, like, if you're ever in a situation like this, like, you need to be brave, like, fear will never help you out in the end and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, this girl's awesome. I really like Hai a lot in this movie. I'll talk a little bit more about her, because she is a really awesome character in this movie. So they go back to eating dinner and stuff like that. They're talking about stuff, and the girl's like, I really want to be on a fish farm and stuff like that. And the mom's like, no, just do your homework or you'll end up like me and stuff like that. And I was like, oh. So then the little girl walks away from the table, and she's like going to bed and stuff like that. So then we cut to the mom. She goes to like this thing, and it has rice inside it or something, and inside it's like this little box, and she opens it, and it's a picture of her family and stuff. And there's like this little red pouch, and she takes like these pearl earrings out of the pouch, and she's kind of looking at it. And then we have a flashback of what she was like before, and I was like, yes, flashback. So before we see her like at this club or something. I think the club is called 86 Club or something like that, and we see her coming out of the bathroom because we heard her puking and stuff like that. And she has this friend. They don't ever say what her name is in the movie, but she has this friend, and she's like, oh, you should probably go to the doctor before it's too late, like, you should abort the baby and stuff like that. And I was like, oh. So then we cut to the next scene, and we see her friend whispering something to her, and she goes like to pick up this bottle of some kind, like a beer bottle or something, and then she hits it on this guy's head. Now I think, from what I remember, either that guy was the leader of the gang, or that's the father of her child, because she says she's like, you have to change your ways or else I'm out of the gang or something like that, and the cops take him away. He's like, remember my face and stuff like that, and I was like, dang. I'm pretty sure that's the father of her child. I'm just assuming, because they did show, I don't know, I'm just assuming. So we see her on the bus, and the bus like drops her off at the village, and she's pregnant and all alone, and I was like, oh, I feel so bad for her. So then the next scene, we see her at a market, and she's at like talking to someone, like seeing how much she could like pawn for the earrings that she has, and I was like, aw. And the lady's like, oh, you can't get anything for this type of diamond. This is like the lowest type of diamond, like. And we see that the mom wants some and the mom's like, I want to pawn it so my daughter can have a fish farm. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And then Hai looks at her daughter getting ice cream from this man, and I was like, okay, like, nothing's really happening, and, like, you know, let's see what happens. So then we hear, like, a riot going on in the crowd, and the mom's like, Mai, what did you do? And these two ladies are, like, saying, like, oh, she stole this wallet, and, like, stuff like that, and the little girl's like, I didn't steal it, I picked it up. And then the mom kind of gets upset with her. She's like, Mai, did you really take it? And the girl's like, no, I didn't take it. And then the crowd is, like, saying, oh, what, like, girl like that should be put in jail. Like, if that was my child, I would beat them up and teach them a lesson. And I was like, what is wrong with these people? Like, seriously, half the people in this movie are jerks. I'm not, no offense, but yeah. So the mom's like, empty your pockets, and the girl's like, no, I can't believe you would believe these strangers and not believe your own daughter. And then she's like, I hate you, type of thing, and then runs away. And then the mom's like, listening to the people talk trash about her, and then we see this old guy like, hey, that girl was actually telling the truth. I dropped my wallet. Like, you people should be ashamed of yourself. Like, the two girls that was saying that Mai stole, they were like scammers, so they were trying to get the money. I was like, okay, like, what the frick, man? Like, why would you blame a little girl? Like, what the heck? So we see that Maya's at this river eating her ice cream. She's like sitting on this log thing that's like being held by this rock or something, and we see a boat drive by, and I was like, okay. So then we cut back to the mom trying to pawn her earrings, but she's like, you know what, I don't want to pawn it. And then the girl's like, why the heck don't you want to pawn it, and stuff like that. And then she said something about this city called Saigon, like, why don't you just go to Saigon and get it pawned then instead. And I was like, okay. So then we hear like Mai screaming in the crowd, and I was like, okay. And we see like these guys like have kidnapped her. And I was like, oh, shoot. So then the mom is like, Mai, and we see one of the guys in the, one of the guys at the supermarket, like one of the people that was working for them, attacks her. And let me tell you, the fight scenes in this movie are freaking awesome. I forgot to mention that this is martial arts mixed with action, so yeah, that's a really good combination. So we get this really badass fight scene, and the fight scenes in this movie are like the best part of this movie, I swear to God, because it's so fast. So we see the mom kick ass, and it's like the coolest thing I've ever seen, I swear to God. And let me tell you, the fight scenes, oh my God, they are so fast, and that's what makes them so great. So the mom's like fighting these guys, and she hits this guy on the head with like some sort of spiky looking fruit, and then she chases after the guys, and they take the daughter on the boat, and the mom actually does make it to the boat, and I was like, oh dang, she's gonna get her daughter back. But then, you know, they kick her butt and they throw her in the water and they drive off, and I was like, oh dang. So the mom swims back to shore and takes this guy's bike. It was kind of funny because she's like, sorry, I'm sorry, I just took your bike. And she's driving to this bridge, and she's like, stop, and they go through the bridge, and I was like, dang. I actually thought she was gonna jump onto the boat, but so anyway, she gets back on the motorcycle and she's like chasing them down the river, and we see the little girl, like Mai's like trying to escape, but they're like covering her mouth, and I was like, oh dang. So we see like Hai like drive into this like bamboo kind of looking forest, and I was like, okay. And she's like driving, and then she stops and she's thinking, and I was like, what the heck. And then, okay, this part was kind of funny. We see these like this fancy like little restaurant, and people are having a good time, and Hai freaking drives like right through the bamboo and crashes the party, and she's like, which way did that boat go, like where's the river? And they're all pointing, and she's like, thank you, I'm so sorry, and then she drives off. I thought that was actually pretty funny because it's like that pretty fancy music, and then boom, the motorcycle just comes through and crashes the whole party, and everyone's like, what the heck? I don't know, I thought that part was actually really funny. I kind of laughed, to be honest. So we go back to like she's chasing them and down the river, and she kind of loses sight of the boat, I think, and we see that one of the other guys that were working for them is chasing her on this bike, and this car comes, and the car crashes into them, and it hits Hai, but she goes somewhere else, and it actually hits the other guy, and then the other guy's looking for her, and he sees that her bike has been crashed, and he goes down to like this river, and she comes out of the water like really fast, like a freaking crocodile, and drags him into the water, and I was like, dang! And they have a really cool fight, but to be honest, she almost does, she actually does get a few hits in this scene. I was like, dang, he can fight back, but dang, like, I'm sorry if I'm saying a dang a lot, but dang, man, this movie, ugh, the fight scenes, man. So she sees, like, she's beating him up and stuff, and she grabs, like, this, like, sort of seaweed looking vine thing, and she's wrapping it around his neck, and she's like, where's my daughter? Tell me, and stuff like that. So I'm guessing he told her because, I don't know, she let him drown in the water, I think. I think she killed him. I don't know. We never did see. So anyways, we go back to her and she's on the bike and she's like, goes into this like little village or something, and she's asking the people like, have you seen my little girl? She's like wearing a green shirt and stuff like that, and the people are like, no. So then she goes to this like people like selling candy and food and stuff like that, and we see like there's this red van or something, and she's looking in it. And then we see a gray van like drive by, and she sees Mai on the bus, and she's like, Mai! And she's like trying to like hit the window because we see that Mai's passed out, like I'm guessing they drugged her, and I was like, oh no. And the vehicle drives away, and I was like, oh no, like how the heck is she gonna get her daughter back? So there's a couple of like other vehicles, like she's asking them like, are you going to Saigon and stuff like that, and they're like, no, and they're driving past her. And then we see this, I think it was like a blue truck, and she stands in front of it, and she almost gets hit by it, actually, but they stop just in time. And she's like, are you guys going to Saigon? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Again, I do not know very much Vietnamese, so please bear with me. So the guys are like, yeah, we're going to Saigon, but you can't come with us. And she's like, please, I'm begging you. And they're like, get lost, lady, and stuff like that. So the truck is driving, but then she hops into the back of the truck, and they actually are aware of it. So the guys like just look at her, they look at each other because they see her in the view mirror that she's jumped into the back, and they're like, oh, she's a stubborn one. So we see her in the back of the truck, and she's thinking about like what her daughter said, and she's like thinking that she's a terrible mom, and I was like, oh. So we get to the city, and I just want to say something really cool about the city. I like how the city parts I found were really cool in the movie, but I'll get onto those later. So they get to the city, Saigon, and she jumps out the back and she thanks them. She's like, thanks. So we go to the club that she was at before, 86 Club, I think that's what it was called, and we see her friend, but she's like all like pretty and stuff, and she's like different because before she had short hair. And she's like, what the heck happened to you? Like, did you crawl out of a sewer and stuff like that? And I was like, okay. So she's talking to her, she's like, my daughter was kidnapped, like what should I do? And then the girl's like, oh well, why don't you just go to the police, like I'm not your B word anymore. And I was like, okay. So I guess like before she was like her, well before the mom was in a gang, so she was like her partner or something like that, but she runs the club now or something like that, I don't know. So then we cut to Hai like talking to her and stuff like that. Again, this girl does not have a name, so we'll just call her her sidekick. So she's talking to her, and then she's like, okay. So like she goes to like this police station, and she's talking to this guy like super fast, like the name and the date of her daughter's birth, and the guy's like, okay, slow down. And she's like, what do you mean slow down? Like my daughter was kidnapped type of thing. So the guy's like, if you say it too fast, I might write something wrong, and then, you know, it won't go through the files correctly. And I was like, okay, that's kind of fair. So he's talking about his boss, and he's like, oh, my boss is like the best detective, like don't worry, he'll find your daughter. And she's kind of like looking around while he's talking, and then she's like, she fakes like this stomach ache, and she's like, do you have any Advil or something? And he's like, no. And then she's kind of looking at him again, and he's like, okay, well how bad, like are you really in pain? And she's like, yeah. And then he's like, okay. And then he gets up and he walks out of the room, and then she stands up and she's like looking through all the files, and I was like, oh yes, like sneaky. And she walks into this other room, and she sees like a poster, like a bulletin board of all these missing kids, and it shows like the leader of the gang. It was like, from what I remember, the gang was called Thang Wolf, or the leader of the, I don't know, they don't say the name of the leader in this movie, so we'll just call like the villain of this movie Wolf. So we see like pictures of the gang and a little bit of graphical stuff. She looks at another bulletin board, and it shows like what they do to the kids. So they basically cut up their organs, and it actually shows pictures of it and stuff, and they sell it, and the mom's like, oh my god, like holy cow. So she goes through more files, and she sees like one of the gang members that used to be in the gang has left, like he's trying to better his life. So she takes it, and she walks out, and she walked past the police officer, like the detective dude that was actually going to help her. And I don't think they ever said his name in the movie, so we'll just call him detective dude or detective police officer or whatever. And the guy's like, hey, there's this girl, like this mom's like, she's super stressed out and stuff like that. And they walk into the room, and they're like, oh, what the heck, she's gone, like she was just here. And the detective dude is like looking around to see like what she took, and he's like, okay, she went to go see this dude. So we get this really cool scene of the city, and I like what they did with the city is that they used mostly like, it's mostly like light blue, red, green, and purple lights in the city, like the tones and the lights, and I thought it was just so cool. So she's looking for this address where the guy lives, and she goes through like these alleys, and some of the lights in the alleys are like green, purple, red, I think, and blue, and I thought it was just really clever how they used those lights for like the city and stuff. I was like, that's really cool, like that's really pretty, because I think the mom was wearing like this purple reddish looking shirt, so it clashes really well with the city. So she finds the address of the guy that she's looking for, and she's like knocking on the door. She's like, I know you're in there and stuff, and we see this old lady open the door, and she's like, what do you want? Like, she says the name of this guy, and I kid you not, the guy's name is Truck. Like, not T-R-U-C-K Truck, T-R-U-C Truck. I was like, that's a funny name for a dude. So she's like, where's your son, Truck? And the mom's like, oh, he doesn't live here. He like moved out a long time ago. So we see like the camera focusing on Truck holding like a wrench or something, and he's like, Mom, who is it? And she's like, oh, it's no one. She's like, I told you to go back upstairs, kind of cliche thing. So then Hai's like kind of pushes the mom like to the side. She's like, I need to talk to your son. And then the son gets mad and almost stabs her with the wrench and stuff, and we get another freaking awesome fight scene. I swear to God, the fight scenes in this movie are so intense, like you can't take your eyes off of them, and oh my God, it's awesome. So we get this cool like fight scene, and they're fighting in his like garage, and he's got like all these tools and stuff, and she's like beating the crap out of him, and to be honest, he almost does kill her in one scene. Like, he's choking her with something, like, oh wait, he has a bat like up to her neck or something like that, and the mom's like begging like, please don't kill my son, like how can I live without my son? And I was like, oh, you kind of gotta like sympathize with the mom. Because the guy's like, just leave me alone, like I just want to better my life, like I don't want anything to do with that gang. So like, Hai like grabs this like flower pot and she hits it on his head, and then she grabs like one of those like, you know, like those incense things, and she like stabs it in his neck and it burns, and I was like, dang! Trust me, the fight scenes in this movie, oh my God, the fight scene is just intense. So they're fighting and stuff like that, and the mom tries to knock out Hai. She hits her with like a bat or something, and I was like, okay, she tried, and then she kind of kicks her to the side. I was like, oh, poor granny. Well, poor mom or whatever she was. So they're fighting, and she gets like the saw blade and she's putting it up to his neck, and she's like, tell me where the gang is and where my daughter is. And the mom's like begging, like, please just like tell her, I don't know like how I can live with myself if anything happens to you. So then I'm guessing he tells her, because the next scene we cut to, it's just her smoking, and he's like, no wait, he was smoking, and she's like just sitting there, and he's like, that's where they are. So then she gets up and she's like, okay. She's walking in the city, like looking for the other address, because then she sees like this girl in a green shirt, and it looks like Mai. She's like, Mai! And then she touches the girl to look at her, and the mom's like, what the heck is wrong with you? And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was like, oh. I actually thought that was Mai too, to be honest. So she's walking and stuff like that, and we see this guy with a little girl, like, of course, like, another child that they kidnapped, and they go into, like, this convenience store, and she follows them, and there's this guy sitting there, and she kind of just looks at him, and he's like, you gonna buy something? And she's like, yeah, just a drink. And he's like, okay. I think, okay, she, like, does this, like, really fast punch thing at his chest, and I was like, dang, that was really cool, and so she, like, takes him out, and then she goes upstairs, and she's looking, and there's these, I think, there's these two guys, and they were playing chess or something like that, and they're like, what the heck do you want? So she's kicking their butts and stuff like that, and I was like, yes. So she goes up, there's like a few guys up there, and she kicks their butts and stuff like that. So then she goes into this room, and it's like, there's like an operating table or something like that, and it's got a few like, I think it was like organs or something on there. It was a little bit gruesome, I won't lie. And she sees like my shoe on the ground, and she's like, no. She thinks like her daughter's dead, and she's like having like self-doubts, like, oh my God, my daughter's dead. And I was like, oh dang, like, did her daughter really die? But then we hear these people talking, like the real game, like the guy's talking to the boss. We'll just call her Wolf, because they never did really say what her name is, so we'll call her Wolf. And she's like, yeah, talking about the train. And then they hear the sound outside of the door, and the door has like bar handles through it, so the guy's like looking and he's like, oh, there's nothing there. And then how do I describe this? She grabs his head and she pulls it to the door and hits him, and then she kicks open the door, and I was like, holy cow, she is strong. So like the guys are fighting her and they kick her to this wall, and she sees like bars, and she looks through it and she sees all the kidnapped children, and she sees mine. She's like, my. So anyway, she kicks their butt and stuff like that, and we see Wolf like sitting at the desk, and she drops her beer bottle, and I was like, dang. Then she like slides off all the stuff off of her desk, and I was like, oh, she means business. So they're fighting and stuff like that, and she kicks Hai like kind of back, and she picks up, and Wolf picks up her phone, and she's like calling someone. I was like, okay, like what the heck? And Wolf, man, holy cow, she like took her out with 2 hits. Like that's how fast she is. I thought that was a clever scene, because it takes a phone like a little while to like reach the person. Like that's how fast she like took out Hai. Like dang, like I thought that was kind of clever. They used the phone scene to see how fast she took her out. I don't know. So we see that Hai is kind of like losing her vision and her hearing's going off, and Wolf says like the code name, like the number of the train that the kids are gonna go on in the morning. I was like, oh. I was like, I hope she remembers that number. Like, I hope that comes in handy later on in the movie. So we see like the guys have chained her up, and she's like unconscious, and they throw her like in the water. I was like, what? Or it was like a lake or something. I was like, what the heck? And we see that she's drowning, but then we see like she has like this flashback of her father teaching her martial arts, like stand up, like no one's gonna help you by in life if you don't do anything. I was like, okay. So we see like he's like punch but with your eyes open, and she, you know, she was kind of weak, but then we see her get back up again and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like to be honest, I didn't realize that her father was the teacher, but when I found out, I was like, oh, that's so cute. But she's like trying to struggle and stuff like that, and her life is like kind of flashing before her eyes, and she actually doesn't escape the chains. I was like, oh dang, did she die? So then we see that she's in a hospital, and she's like, where the heck am I? And this nurse is like, sit down, like don't move and stuff like that. And oh my god, the nurse, oh my god, she's awesome. But we will get onto her later. So we see that the police officer walks in, and he's like, oh, we talked to that guy and he told us where you went and stuff. And I was like, okay. So the guy's like telling her like, you kind of ruined everything, like just leave it to us, like we're the professionals. And I was like, what the frick? And she's like, oh, you don't understand, they taken my daughter. And the police officer is like, they didn't take your daughter, there was no evidence, we went to the scene, there were no kids there. I was like, the frick? Because when she was fighting them, the other guys like and made the kids like run out of the room, like they took them out back. So I was like, okay, that's kind of fair, but still. And she's like, you don't understand, like I have to save my daughter, I don't even know if my daughter's alive or not right now. And the guy's like, just leave it to us, like you stay here, we'll pay for everything, like just stay and don't move. And she kind of did try to, like, she was sitting up and she was taking the stuff off, but then the nurse is like, no, 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 just sit down and stuff like that. And I was like, oh. So the police officer walks out of the room, and Hai's just laying there, like, self-doubting herself. And then she's kind of having, like, a little conversation with the nurse. She's like, are you a mom? And the nurse is like, yeah, I'm a mom, I have sons. I think she said she had 3 sons or something like that. And Hai's like, oh, they're so lucky to have a mom like you that works hard and cares for them. And then she's like, and Hai's like putting herself down. She's like, oh, I'm a horrible mother, like I can't even like protect my daughter and stuff like that. And the nurse kind of feels sorry for her. She's like, okay, like, she's like, have you watched American Hollywood movies? And oh my god, this scene. So Hai pretends to take her like hostage. She's like, she's like, nobody move, like she's like holding it, I think it was a knife or something up to her throat, but she was like holding her hostage. She's like, don't anybody move, I got her hostage. And the nurse is like pretending to be scared. She's like, ah, and stuff like that. It was so funny, I swear to god. And then the nurse is like, why are there like police officers here, like different type of police officers? And Hai's like, I actually really don't know why they're here. And then the nurse kind of starts freaking out. She's like, oh shoot, like this is actually real. And then she takes her to the elevator, and then she's like, tell my sons, and then she says this line in English, I love you. It was so funny. I was laughing so hard when I saw that. And when I was watching it with my mom was like, what did she say? I was like, how did you not understand that? She said I love you in English. It was so funny. I was like laughing my head off when she saw that part. That was like the funniest scene in the whole movie. So the nurse is like on this moped and stuff like that, and they go out back, and she's like, okay, like this is where you get off, like I hope you find your daughter and stuff like that. And we see Hai like she's like at this wall or something, and she's kind of just sitting there. And then we see this guy walk up to her, and she's like, "Oh, brother." I was like, "Oh, that's her brother?" So, a little bit of a fair warning, her brother is a real jerk. Just want to point that out. Like, ugh, I can't stand him, I swear to God. So, they're in his, like, apartment, and his wife is pregnant and, like, serving them food and stuff like that. And we see, like, this little memorial of her father and certificates, and they got like the incense burning and stuff like that. And the brother's like, "Oh, you're a real piece of trash, you know that, like, you love dad and you love the family and everything like that." And she's like, "Do you not understand, like, your niece has been, like, kidnapped, like, you don't even care?" And to be honest, he really doesn't care. He's like, "Oh, why do I care? Like, a mother like you should be, like, dead," and stuff like that. And I was like, what the frick is wrong with this dude? Like, why would you wish for your own sister to be dead? And she's like, "Yeah, I've made mistakes and stuff like that, but, like, giving birth to my daughter was, like, the best thing I ever did." And I was like, "Yes, girl, yes." And he's like, he gets mad at her, and, like, I was like, the frick. Okay, anyways, the brother sucks, and he says, like, to be honest, like, to sum it up, he's not gonna help her. She's like, "Fine, I'll just look for her on my own." I was like, "Some brother you are." So she walks outside, and, she goes to this fence, and she kind of crouches down, and she's crying. She's, like, having a moment, and I was like, oh my god. Like, this reminds me so much of a scene I did in my story, Shin-Yu. I won't spoil it, but the thing that the mother has been through was something very similar to a character in my story. And before you ask, no, I did not copy it from this movie, because I wrote the story in 2016, and this movie came out in 2019. So, yes, I did not copy the scene, but this character, oh my god, reminded me so much of Hai, I swear to God. So she's crying, and we see the police officer is, like, coming out of the shadows. He's like, "If you want to get your daughter back, crying won't do anything." And she's like, "Oh, what do you want?" And he's like, "I want to help you," and stuff like that. And then he says, like, "You're the only one who knows where they're going," because, again, she heard what the girl said on the phone about the train number. And so they go to the train station, and they're looking for the trains, and there's, like, a whole bunch of trains, and they see the train that the kid is on because of the number. And then the guy's like, "Okay, like, I think we should stop here." And the girl's like, "What the heck?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll call in reinforcements, and we'll just leave it to them." And she's like, "No, I've gotten this far. I'm not gonna let you stop me. Either you stop me now or you shoot me." I was like, dang. So, Hai goes onto the train, and she's walking down the aisles, and it was kind of cool to see how different trains are versus, like in other countries, because the chairs are just, like, all wooden and stuff, and they got, like, fans hanging off of the ceiling. So I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. It's, you know, it's cool to see how trains look like in different countries and stuff like that. So she's walking, and then she goes into the other cart room, and there's these guys looking at her, and then one of them tries to attack her or something like that, and again we get another awesome fight scene. But then the police officer's in the scene, and he's, like, kicking ass, and I was like, dang, these people know how to fight. So anyways, they kick butt and stuff like that, and she goes, like, and she's, like, going to the next carts and stuff like that, and she hops over to the next cart and stuff like that, and we see these guys, like, playing cards and stuff like that. And I can't remember if she was on top of the train or not, but she's on top of the train, and then she's fighting one of these guys and stuff like that, and she kicks him off. It was kind of funny how she did it. She did it so fast. She was like, yeah, she kicks him off and stuff. So then she grabs onto, like, the door part, and she swings herself in, and she kicks one of the guys, I think. And we see, like, the guy from before, I swear to God, I think it was the father. We see him, and she's like, "Remember me?" because he has the cut on the forehead, because she hit him on the head with a glass ball before in the flashback. And I was like, oh, like, that's the father and stuff like that. He's part of the gang. Dang. Because if you think about it, if she stayed in the gang, she would have ended up like that. So I was like, dang. And then she spits in his face. I was like, okay. Then she bites his hand, and then, you know, they're fighting and stuff like that, and stuff happens, and we see Wolf talking on the walkie-talkie, like, telling these guys to switch the train tracks. And I was like, what the heck? Like, why do they just switch the train tracks? So, Hai actually knocks out the guy with the walkie-talkie. Well, wait, the guy's name was Rum, I remember that. And Wolf is like, Rum, like, why aren't you answering? And then, okay, my memory's off a little bit. But Hai does eventually reach the cart that Wolf is in. And she's like, I'm impressed you made it this far. but this is where you draw the line. And she kicks her, like, she's fighting with Hai, and Wolf, dang, like, Wolf is really strong. So she's, like, kicking butt, and I swear to God, it looked like she was almost, I swear to God, it looks like she dislocated or broke her arms a couple of times when she was fighting Hai. I was like, dang. So then she, does this really hard blow, and it kind of knocks Hai onto the ground, and she's, like, unconscious, and she's in pain. And I was like, how are you, like, still alive? Like, honestly, all the beatings Hai goes through in this movie makes me question, like, how the frick is she still alive? Like, you should be dead by now, like, seriously? And then we see Hai have a flashback of, her father teaching her more, like, martial arts. And he's like, if you always get back up, there will always be a reward. And we see her give the little red pouch, like we saw at the beginning of the movie. So I was like, oh, so that's where the pouch came from. I was like, oh. And Wolf actually steps on the pouch that Hai had. I was like, oh, she brought the pouch with her. And she's like, oh, this is for your daughter. Well, you won't need it anymore. And she steps on it. I was like, dang. And then Hai gets back up. And this is where they have the real showdown. I think it was like the best fight scene in the whole movie, to be honest. So they have this freaking badass fight scene. And while they're fighting, like, the train tracks switch, and one goes the other way and one goes another way or something like that, and the police officer is like, what the heck? But he does call in reinforcements and stuff like that. So anyways, they're fighting, and I swear, I don't really want to spoil this part, but Hai, like, is kicking butt, and then she grabs, like, her knife, and then she does this, like, she stabs her, like, so fast a couple of times. It was really cool. I don't know why. I thought it was so cool. She did it so fast. I was like, da-da-da-da-da. I was like, that's really freaking cool. And then she does this, like, jump kick in the air, and she, like, kicks her, and, she kicks Wolf's head, and her head lands on the knife, because I think she was holding it or something. I was like, dang, that was so cool. So she kills Wolf, and then she goes into the next cart, and she finally gets to see her daughter, because they were in, like, this wooden cage, and she's like, mine, and she's hugging her. It was kind of it was actually a sweet moment. It was kind of bittersweet, because the daughter's like, I'm sorry, I was scared. I know you told me not to be scared. Like, I'm sorry I couldn't be like you. Like, are you disappointed in me? And the mom's like, no. Like, crying and stuff like that. And then Maya's like, you know I didn't take the wallet, right? And then the mom's like, yes, I'm sorry, I never believed you and stuff like that. And Maya's like saying, oh, I was really scared, but I told the other girls not to be scared like the other kids. And then she's like, what other kids? And then she opens the door, and we see the other kids, like, they all look like they've been drugged. Like, seriously, they're, like, sitting there, and they got tape on their mouth, and they got, like, little, like, numbers on their heads. I was like, dang, these kids look like they've been through some stuff, man. So they get to this, like, we cut to the scene, and there's, like, the other train station where the other guys are waiting for her, and they got, like, guns and stuff. No, wait, yeah, they have guns and stuff, and the Hai's like, wait here, and Maya's like, oh, will you be okay? And the mom's like, yes. So she puts her back in, like, the wooden cage, and she ties it up. I was like, okay. And actually, when I was watching that scene with my mom, like, when I was watching it with my mom, I was saying, like, okay, like, it was tied off by rope. Like, why couldn't the kids escape, like, from the box this whole time? And the mom's like, well, the kids were probably, like, so scared. Like, they'd been through so much. So I was like, okay, just wanted to point that out in case you guys were wondering why the kids never untied the thing, because that's why. So, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So, they hear this noise, the people at the train tracks or, like, train station hear a noise, and they're, like, looking around, and Hai, like, sneaks up behind them, and she is, like, punching and shooting at the same time while she's fighting these guys. It's really cool. So, anyway, she's fighting, and she's attacking them, and then, she almost kills them all. She actually does kill them all, but, she gets shot in the shoulder, and I was like, no, I was like so devastated when I saw that. My jaw dropped. I was like, frick no. So she falls on the ground, and the guy was about to almost shoot her again, but then thank God the police officer dude shoots him, and then reinforcements come, and they're, I don't know if it's just me, but it's just so satisfying to see reinforcements show up at the end of the movie, or like a rescue team, and that music plays, and it's like, it was so satisfying once I saw that. I was like, thank God the kids are gonna get saved. So we see the people taking the kids off of the train, and they look all scared. And we see Mai, and she looks at her mom, and she's like, Mom, and she runs over to her mom. She's like, please don't die, and she's like holding her lifeless looking hand, and I was like, frick. I swear to God, when I was watching this the first time, I was so pissed, because I was like, I was so pissed because I was like, I swear to God, if they killed the mom, I was gonna be so like freaking disappointed with this movie. Because the mom wasn't moving, and I was like, oh frick, don't tell me the mom freaking dies in this movie. And the girl's like crying, and we cut to this white scene, and it's the news. So I was like, oh frick, don't tell me the mom died. So like the investigation is on the news, and they're talking about the mom and how she's a hero and stuff like that. And we see like Mai sitting in the chair, and she's got like her nice little dress on and stuff, and she's talking to the other kids on the train, like, see ya, like, bye, kind of stuff, like, she's made so many friends. I was like, oh, that's cute. And then, she's about to walk into this room, and we see the little boy that used to bully her at the beginning of the movie, like, smile and give her a pen. He's like, here, like, I was wrong about you, kind of thing. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. I was like, so happy to see that the little boy was actually starting to treat her better. I was like, thank you. So we see that the mom is in the hospital bed, and she is alive. Thank God. I was like so worried the mom actually died in the movie. Like, I swear to God, I almost cried, not gonna lie. And then we see like all these flowers and letters, and the daughter's like reading the letters to her mom. She's like, I want to be like you, Mom. Like, can you teach me martial arts? I'll be like fighting alongside with you. And I was like, oh my God, Maya's like so freaking cute. And the mom's like kind of just smiles and kisses her on the head. And she's like, yeah, I can teach you martial arts and stuff like that. But the first rule of being like a martial arts is like to never give up and to stand back up. And then the credits roll, and I was like, that is such an awesome way to end a movie, because she looks directly at the camera while she says it. I was like clapping. I was like, yes, this movie, I swear to God, this movie, oh my God. So now that I have talked about the whole movie, I want to talk about the things I liked about the movie and some things I didn't like about the movie, and then I will give my final thoughts about the movie. The things I like about this movie is that, to be honest, I think this is the best movie where a woman is the lead protagonist. I don't know why, but disagree with me all you want. I thought it was just so well done how they made the mother the lead protagonist, because she kicks butt. I thought that was just so cool. Like, this is a mother you don't want to mess with. Like, in one scene, the police officer goes to the dude truck and he's talking to her, and she's like, oh, that girl's like a tiger. Like, once you take her cub, she'll be like furious. I was like, yeah, that's like a great way to describe like the mom in the movie. She's like a tiger looking for her cub. Like, once you take it, you're like messing with the tiger now. The fight scenes, again, I'm sorry if I've said this so many times, but the fight scenes are just so well done. Like, they're so, I just love how fast they were. Like, it wasn't like a long ass fight scene and stuff like that. It was like fast. It was like rapid, fast fight scenes. And I liked the way it was like filmed and some of the angle shots they used in it. My favorite character obviously was Hai. I thought she was so cool. And the girl that played her, okay, bear with me, I will try to say her name. Ngô Thanh Vân, I think that's how you say her name. That girl that played her, hands down the best Vietnamese actress I have seen. And that is actually the first Vietnamese movie I have ever seen. So I was very pleased to watch this for my very first Vietnamese movie. I was like, okay, that was really freaking awesome. Like, what else do they got? Like, I was just... Honestly, the first time I watched it, I was just like so speechless and blown away, and I actually got chills, but in a good way. And I'm losing words for it, and I've seen this movie 3 times now, people, and if I still can't say, like, talk after watching this movie or reviewing it, oh my God. Like, I love this movie so much. It's so freaking good. Like, honestly, since that this movie has done so well, and like I've watched it 3 times, I am giving this movie the gold star approval. Now, what that means is, if the movie like this gets the gold star of approval, that means I really recommend this movie. That means this movie has done so well that I am just so pleased. Like, you have pleased me 100% with this movie. And if you look at the thumbnail for this video, it shows a gold star in the corner, like a gold star medal. If you see one of my videos with that star in the logo, like the corner, that's how you know this movie is going to be good. So next time you see me do a movie review, if you see the gold star in the corner, that means it's going to be a good movie, let me tell you. Because let me tell you, it is hard to please me with a movie, because I'm always like judging and I'm looking at the flaws of the movies and stuff. I'm like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But with this movie, I was just like, no words. I was just so pleased with this movie. It was, I swear, like, Westerners, please take notes from movies like this. Like, if you, oh my god. I mean, I've seen some pretty good, like, fighting movie, thriller, like thriller martial arts, but none of them compared to this movie. This was like, this was probably the best 2019 movie I watched, because I did watch this in 2020 when I was in college. Because I was just bored one night and I found it on Netflix, so I was like, okay, I knew nothing about the movie, I never saw the trailer, so I watched it and I was like, just speechless. Trust me, this is one of those movies that will make you want to go up to the bathroom really fast, grab a drink, and run right back to your couch or to your room or whatever you're watching this in. That's how good this movie is. It's one of those movies, like, seriously, every time I got up to go to the bathroom, I made it fast, I grabbed a quick snack, and I was like just back into my seat watching it. I was like, I'm so sorry if I'm pausing a lot, but this movie, oh my god, this movie, no words, this movie is so amazing. Please go watch this movie. I've given it my 100% star approval, golden star. Please, I beg you, please watch this movie. And to those who have seen this movie, please let me know in the comments what you thought about this movie, or if you are a YouTuber who has watched my video, tag me in your video and I want to see your thoughts about the movie. And if you haven't seen this movie, to anyone who watched this video without like spoilers and stuff like that, I'm sorry, but again, I warned you. Please, just please let me know what you thought about this movie, because it's so good. I love this movie. I might actually watch it for a 4th time maybe, because I had to watch this movie 3 times because I kind of forgot some of the scenes, but I watched this movie on Sunday, so my memory's back on track. So yeah, I might have missed a few parts in the movie, but again, bear with me. I saw this movie like way back at the beginning of 2020, so I had to rewatch it for the 3rd time to get my memory back on track. So that's basically my thoughts about Furie, is that it's a really good action-packed thriller martial arts film. And again, the lead protagonist of Hai is the best lead character for a woman in a movie ever I've seen. Like, honestly, like, that was awesome, man. So if you are looking for a movie to watch that will get you excited or get your blood and adrenaline rushing, I recommend this movie 100%. So for the next movie I will be reviewing is Train to Busan. Again, guys, please make sure to like this video, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments if you have seen this movie and your thoughts about this movie and what you didn't like about the movie, or just your thoughts in general about the movie. Honestly, I love this movie. Just want to say that again for like the 1,000th time. Please go watch this movie. And until then, I will see you guys again. Goodbye.